I'm going to call the meeting to order. 1 minute late.
Ready?
Yes, please call the roll.
Gandy,
Yes.
Esti,
Yes.
Toohill,
Yes.
Rasmussen,
Yes.
Anderson,
Yes.
Flournoy,
Yes.
Ham.
Yes.
Great. Are there any changes to the agenda tonight, Council? If not, we'll move on to the oh, sorry.
Excuse me. I'm sorry. Yeah, I would like to change. I would like to add an item under the committee and board reports to discuss Jefferson County Ambulance Board meeting.
Okay. Great, thank you. Okay.
She asked me to remember that. I forgot it.
Yeah. We will go to the consent agenda. Approval of the minutes of the October 24th, 2022 council meeting. Approval of the October 28th, 2022 payroll in the amount of $122,008.53. Approval of November 10th, 2022 payroll in the amount of $119,400.15. Acceptance of the volunteer committee minutes. Acceptance of the Carnegie Museum board minutes. Acceptance of beautification commission minutes. Acceptance of environmental and franchise utility committee minutes. Acceptance of park and recreation advisory committee minutes. Approval of the annual urban renewal report. Approval of the annual finance report. Resolution of employment in the fire department, resolution of employment in the park and recreation department, resolution of employment of communication specialists, approval of employee appreciation celebration December 16th, 2022, approval of ACH payment to Iowa Department of Revenue in the amount of $2,410.35, and another ACH payment to Iowa Department of Revenue in the amount of $17,088.72, approval of total claims in the amount of $558,842.44. We have one claim over $75,000 to Jefferson County Kids in the amount of $255,495.21. This is a pass-through from CDBG, and there is question whether that is the right amount. We think it might, that's the same amount as the last time in September? June. Sorry, June. And so we think there might be more coming for 16,000 and some odd. So not saying to not approve it, just know that we're not sure that they actually gave Rebecca the right amount in the letter. So in that case, we'll...
They just submitted another request.
Yes, they'd submit another request.
Right.
So just kind of a heads up.
Move to approve consent agenda.
Okay.
Second.
Okay, moved by Gandy, second by Esti. Any other discussion?
I reviewed all the claims and recommend paying them.
Okay, great. Please call the roll.
Gandy,
Yes.
Esti,
Yes.
Flournoy,
Yes.
Anderson,
Yes.
Ham,
Yes.
Rasmussen,
Yes.
Toohill.
Yes.
Okay, on public forum and appearances, we have Chad Starling here tonight, and he's one of our local artists, and he's going to talk about the railroad underpass project that was his brainchild.
Thanks for having me and thanks for the time. 10 years and 12 days ago, I arrived to Fairfield. And when I did, I saw the underpass on 2nd Street, Ray Road. And I thought that would be just the prime real estate just for an amazing mural. And I mentioned this to Connie and to Shanaz actually first. And I had no idea that we would be actually here so quickly, 10 years later. I moved here to be an artist, and as I was creating my masterpiece, I would have no clue living here in Fairfield and settling here would bring me my family. I met my wife here, and then my true masterpieces, my 4 children that I have now, and continue to be a member of this community and to grow artistically. And so I'm looking to build this next phase and present a mural to you that I think would be a beautiful representation of my experience, and I know many others in this community who have had a similar experience of growing here and their lives just changing and thriving, and us as a community We've seen many changes. I've seen them in just a short time. Many of you who have grown up here have seen a lot more than I have. And we continue to do that. And we've got this awesome responsibility year by year, day by day, to build our town. And it's building a name for itself and creating friends all over the world. So with that said, if Jason, you have some of the slides of the mural, this would represent some of the, it says bloom and grow. So as an artist, what I do is I take a word or a phrase and I repeat it over and over again in an abstract form that would represent the words. And you can go to the next slides. So one side of the bridge would be sort of like this bloom, the other side grow, and then you can keep scrolling up to show what it'd look like underneath the underpass. The idea is to, make it beautiful. 2nd Street is a main connection route through Fairfield. I don't need to explain anything on that. It's the only place to go to the north side of town if a train is stopped in the road, all those other things that go on. It's kind of a unique spot.
Can I interject something?
Come up to the microphone,
Yeah.
Shanaz.
When you're looking at this photo, look on the left side and far end, you see the grass has been mowed. See how pretty it looks? And this side doesn't look good. So we are going to work with the beautification committee and hopefully the city, I don't know what part, who that belongs to, and make sure that it's neat, mowed, and maybe it has some nice landscaping around it. So, because it looks so much better on the other side than it does on this side.
And I just want to point out that there's been a lot of problem with graffiti on
Yeah.
those 2 pillars,
Yeah.
and that's,
Here,
yeah.
I have some, I got you some
Yeah.
pictures of
Yeah.
what it is right now.
and also you've already worked with the Beautification Commission, correct, on getting colors and the wording, and so
Yeah,
it's
we have
not
permission.
just Chad who said, okay, this is
Yeah,
what I'm
yeah.
going to do. They've already done a collaborative effort
We've already
on what
talked.
this should look
Yes,
like.
Yes, and I got the last approval about just.
Come up closer to the
I got
microphone.
the last approval about this morning sometime before I woke up. It was there, and they said that they're supportive of the plan.
Yeah. So Shanaz has been working with the DOT and the railroad and Rebecca, because we have insurance issues. So, it's quite a task, actually, and she's just been going after it. And
Yeah.
What are the insurance issues?
Because it would be somebody, a volunteer per se, working on a railroad right-of-way for the city. There's all sorts of issues. There's just things that have to be in place. We have to have DOT approval, and there's a bunch of check marks we have to do prior to them beginning this project.
Does someone have to evaluate it for the possibility of being a distraction for drivers?
Well, and the safety of the artist, too.
Right. Well,
I say, are we looking at closing this during, or
We can close
closing
it.
even one side of it?
One side of it.
One side of it?
Is it textured or flat?
Concrete?
Well, he could put texture on top of it.
Oh, yeah.
So that, if you go back to that one slide that shows a marking with the name Dewey, 1934, does that have any significance? Or do you
I
know?
would say so. If that's
The reason, that's why I asked if it was going to be textured, because it might cover that up if it were.
I wouldn't cover it up. In fact, I can paint right to the edge of that if you like, or block it off.
It might be the railroad's call, but.
Yeah,
And then the other question I had is, I like it a lot,
thank you.
but it'd be nice if you could extend it up above the pillars onto
You
the.
talked about
about
the top part. As a matter of fact, I've discussed this idea with many people in town who have artistic ability, and they suggested that maybe I should bring that up now in this meeting so I don't have to come back again in front of you and explain it. They said it would look so much better if we did something about it. But I haven't lived here long enough. I understand that at one point there was something up there, and somebody said that, somebody who lived here long enough. But when you're driving next time, look at it. It looks like rusty, and it looks like water seeps through. So until that gets fixed, I don't think we want to waste our time doing something, but it will look so much better if we just painted it, just simple painting.
Shanaz, it might be a better investment to just have Prison Industries do a new clearance sign. They're all over the state where there are, you're talking about the clearance 14-foot area above there.
The orange sign.
As far as being a part of it, artistic or not, might blend in a lot better if it was just the traditional green that you see everywhere else
Just
on the
plain,
signage.
yes.
Yeah. And I'm sure that would be probably in the catalog.
I don't, if it's a low clearance, it would have to be a warning yellow because of it's a warning sign.
Well, then
You couldn't change the
I'm wrong
color.
about the green. I don't know if I
Yeah.
can change the color, but I'm sure the Prison Industries has one that we probably could buy for less than making our own.
But that's another permit from the railroad because that's the railroad property. And now they approved the underpass, but they haven't approved. But considering all the pages that they sent for liability, and I'm assuming we're going to get about a book about that one because it's right under where the train goes. So that could be a structural issue. I don't, but I can talk to them because now I know enough people at the railroad that they pick up the phone and talk to me. So, so I can find out if that is a possibility.
Jason, can you scroll back down to the graffiti? So either one of these pictures, so that rust wash that we see there, what is going to be done to preserve your art so it doesn't end up with that rust
It
wash
will
on
be
it?
sealed, but it still will get dirty.
Okay.
Unless leaks are fixed, that's rust from the top.
From the actual
So
railroad?
it's seeping down concrete. Yeah.
Okay.
It's probably correct.
And with your seal, will it be more prone to just wash on down and off, or is there?
It's easier to clean it.
It is easier.
And
to
it's
clean.
easier
Yeah.
to clean up other people's graffiti. Now, there are studies in large cities that when you do artwork and murals, it's less prone to be vandalized.
Yeah.
So that's one of the reasons actually for this underpass. It's really the one spot in town that's really like.
I just didn't want to see you put all this effort into and then have that happen to your art.
Yeah.
That was a question I had about the
It's
graffiti.
going to age.
Me too.
It's going to age, but sealing it correctly, it'll preserve it for longer life, for sure. There are other materials that are worth exploring, but I haven't explored yet as far as vendors and what cost would be. But there is a material that's sort of like a vehicle wrap, but it's made for buildings. So you can put that on and you can actually, it lasts longer. The color's vibrant. It's washable. I don't know much else aside from that.
Somewhere on one of these walls, it says 1934. So if this is that old, well, I'm hoping that what we do would last that long. So, for 100 years old, 80 years old. So,
Yeah, I say
That
we would do
happens.
several coats
Yeah.
to preserve it.
And in your conversations with the railroad, they've never mentioned that this is slatted to be replaced or anything?
Not with me.
Okay.
I'm just curious, how is it that the whatever you're going to be preparing this art installation with, how is it going to be less prone to graffiti in terms of being able to be cleaned?
First of all, we're going to promote the heck out of this project, and I'm going to move and put my bed right next to the. And whoever does that is going to be in trouble. I don't know. I thought maybe yes, we will promote it a lot, and hopefully people will take pride in it. There is no guarantee, but we can also put camera up there and make a couple of arrests, hopefully, and then they get the message.
You can add lighting too. It's pretty dark in there.
Yes, the lighting.
But what kids are mostly looking for is blank canvas, and it's stuff like that is just going to be layers and layers of it. So it's less likely. It's not that it's going to not happen, but it's definitely going to cut it down. But washing it up, like I said, is a lot easier when it's coated.
What are you coating it with?
It's going to be a clear sealant, so it's for weather, it's for the paint. It's also UV coated for the sun, so it's less.
Urethane finish? Like a urethane finish?
Yeah, similar.
Because paint washes right off of that stuff.
So, great.
By the way, this is going to take time. We're not planning even to start until the end of spring. Between now and then, there is a lot of steps that we have to take. First of all, do all the paperwork, and then find out the materials and the cost, and hopefully raise some money, and also schedule the timing, because Chad works and has a family, so he can't be there 24 hours a day. So it probably will take a few months to do it, and we're not going to start until close to the end of spring.
I would encourage you to apply for some lost funds
What?
through the granting program that the city has.
Okay. That'd be awesome. Yeah, anything
What's the
we can
estimated
do.
total cost?
It's about 3 months of work. It would be amazing to see $25,000. That's what the value of it would be. But, it's like whatever comes in. The main thing is that it gets done. I think it'd be awesome. I've also got to support my family. That's also a priority. I'm the lead designer for Bovard as well, so I design stained glass, and then I have my art business.
Lost does a 1-to-1 match, so if it was total cost was $25,000, you could ask for $12,500 and then get a $12,500 match.
Okay.
Just an idea, but I would encourage you to do it.
Okay.
Okay.
Is this your first mural that you've done?
No, but it's the first outdoor mural.
I was just wondering if you've found anybody else that would be interested in helping you work, like you.
We've talked about
you
that.
putting it out, up and out in the design, but others helping you fill in.
We can discuss that for sure. That's something that we have discussed and that we're looking for.
I
so.
just thought that would save you on some of your.
It would help, definitely on the layout. This moves pretty well, but if somebody's filling in, and it is concrete, so there's places on the concrete where it craters, like where little rocks would be, things like that. It's those little touch-ups that take a big chunk of time, because I'm not spray painting this.
Right.
It's something that would be better applicated with a brush. Yeah.
And by the way, the railroad and also highway department, they require a schedule, and we're not allowed to work certain hours after 5 o'clock or that's why it takes longer. And a highway department has been very cooperative. They're going to block a section of the road. I'm surprised that they agreed to do that. But again, I'm sure they're not going to do it all day. Maybe they'll do a couple of hours a day.
Exactly, yeah, no matter what.
Rerouting. So,
no matter what, it's going to be time.
in addition to Chad being has a job to do, and we have to schedule all of this with the railroad, and it sounded like a very simple project, but the more you get into it, it's not simple. It requires good planning.
That's why I was asking if you could find some young artists to work with you, because I do have a
we've
friend who does
talked
this
about
very
it.
thing, and now she's in a place where she can hire others to come and help her get some stuff done.
That's
So
awesome.
It's easier on her body and yours too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's open.
Well, the city hall, Rebecca has my phone number, email, text, everything. So if you're coming up with suggestions and you have resources that you want to recommend, please just send me a note, and we'll incorporate it into the project.
Well, you might consider going to the service clubs too and asking them for money.
Yeah.
Kiwanis, Rotary, the Lions.
Okay.
Yeah, if they
And there's a
do
lot of folks
$1,000,
I
you
know
got $3,000 right there.
Yeah,
And that's a seed money.
yeah,
And if it gets matched with a lost fund,
yeah.
that's
Do
what they're
either,
there for.
yeah, excuse me, Doug. Go ahead.
I'm done.
I was going to ask if either of you know, does DOT require something similar to the railroad indemnity agreement?
DOT wants to see that. They just want to see that the railroad has approved everything. They don't have their own paperwork or anything. They already gave me a small email that we are willing to cooperate with you. That's,
Yeah, that piece under the bridge is probably a DOT permit, and the railroad permit is this, and this is like 25 pages. If they have any similar requirements, we'll probably have to run that through council differently than the railroad right of entry agreement with indemnification. And this puts it all on us, frankly. We, except for gross negligent standards, the railroad's not willing to be responsible for anything.
So John, you're going to review that and bring that back to council at some point?
Yeah, I've reviewed it, and
I emailed it
Shana
to-
sent this to me, so it's like everything the railroad does. It's
Yeah.
about 50 pages longer than you imagined, and it's got all of the language worded, so they will permit this if we agree to let our head be cut off someday, if it happens that way. And it's very tightly worded so that the railroad can't possibly be subject to anything unless their employees are doing things intentionally.
Okay, well, we really look forward to this happening and look forward to crossing all the Ts and dotting all the Is. Thank you, Chad.
Thank you.
It's going to be beautiful.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Okay, let's move on to resolution action items and ordinances. The first action item is consideration to set public hearing on the status of funded activities for the Jefferson County Kids, Inc. Daycare Construction Project, and we'll set that for Monday, November 28th, 2022 at 7 p.m.
Motion to approve?
Moved by Anderson,
Second.
second by Gandy. Any other questions, discussion? Not, please call the roll.
Anderson?
Yes.
Gandy?
Yes.
Ham?
Yes?
Toohill?
Yes.
Rasmussen?
Yes.
Esti?
Yes.
Flournoy?
Yes.
Next action item, consideration to set public hearing on the status of funded activities for the Fairfield Food Garden Initiative and the Pandemic Response Project, again for Monday, November 28th, 2022 at 7 p.m.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Moved by Anderson, second by Toohill. Any discussion? Not, please call the roll.
Anderson?
Yes.
Toohill?
Yes.
Rasmussen?
Yes.
Flournoy?
Yes.
Esti?
Yes.
Gandy?
Yes.
Ham?
Yes?
Action item, consideration to set public hearing on sale of city assets. These are accessory buildings at the old DOT site for Monday, November 22nd, or 28th, 2022 at 7 p.m. And the plan is for sealed bids due Thursday, December 8th.
So is this currently out on our website?
Not yet.
Not yet.
Not yet.
We gotta approve it first.
Okay.
Move to approve.
Thank you. Moved by Toohill, second by Anderson. Any discussion? Now, please call the roll.
Toohill?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
Ham?
Yes.
Gandy?
Yes.
Esti?
Yes.
Flournoy?
Yes.
Rasmussen?
Yes.
Next action item, consideration of revised contract services agreement with Klingner and Associates, PC, for the fire station project. I believe this is an additional $25,000 for help with the demolition. Correct?
Yes, for the demolition, the rebed of the east buildings salvage, proper removal of the asbestos and ground compaction.
Alrighty.
Move to approve.
Moved by Rasmussen, second by Toohill. Any discussion? Not, please call the roll.
Rasmussen?
Yes.
Toohill?
Yes.
Flournoy?
Yes.
Ham?
Yes.
Esti?
Yes.
Gandy?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
Thank you. Next action item, consideration of certificate, substantial completion of wastewater treatment aerobic digester number 1 replacement. Do you want to say anything about that, Aaron?
Just McClure feels that we're at that point, and we as a staff also agree with that. So recommend approving that.
Move to approve.
Moved by Toohill.
Second.
Second by Ham. Any discussion? Not, please call the roll.
Toohill?
Yes.
Ham?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
Rasmussen?
Yes.
Flournoy?
Yes.
Esti?
Yes.
Gandy?
Yes.
Thank you. Next action item, consideration of Resilient Iowa Communities Best Practices Assessment. Elizabeth?
Yeah, so the council, the Environmental and Franchise Utility Committee met last week to go over the Resilient Iowa Communities Best Practices Assessment. This is something that we had to do before we can move forward with the RIC project with UNI. We had already, and Rachel is here to answer questions if we have any further ones, but we started with a community assessment, and the mayor was present, as well as myself and Doug. And what we actually needed for UNI was an assessment of city policies. So we met in addition with Aaron and Melanie to go over city policies. This will then go to UNI, and we're going to provide evidence of the policies that we currently have in place or we are in process. And I will also note that this assessment was developed for a larger city in mind. It was developed, I think, with like St. Paul or one of the Twin Cities. So some of these were really not applicable to us, as I think you'll probably notice if you reviewed it. And that's something hopefully we can give some feedback to you and I, because we are part of the pilot project. And so hopefully we can work with them to kind of change the assessment and change some of the goals of the assessment so that it better suits our community. Does anyone have any questions? Great.
So you want a motion to approve this?
Yeah, I would
As it
request a
stands.
motion to approve as stands, knowing that we're going to add some evidence to it, and then I, as the point person for this project, will then submit it to you and I, and then we'll be going forward with it.
Second.
Okay. So moved by Esti, second by Flournoy. Any discussion? Not, please call the roll.
Esti?
Yes.
Flournoy?
Yes.
Rasmussen?
Yes.
Ham?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
Gandy?
Yes.
Toohill?
Yes.
The next is a resolution, consideration of annual street finance report. Rebecca, you want to talk about that?
Yep, so this is just what we have to do every year, turn into the state how we spent road use monies and other monies spent for road projects. Also snow removal and equipment. And we have to do this to receive road use tax.
Okay.
Move to approve.
Moved by Rasmussen,
Second.
second by Anderson. Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Rasmussen?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
Toohill?
Yes.
Esti?
Yes.
Flournoy?
Yes.
Ham?
Yes.
Gandy?
Yes.
Okay, then there's next couple resolutions that are related, but the first one, consideration of engagement agreement with Allers and Cooney as bond counsel of sanitary sewer step 3 project, and so that has to do with the lift station. Aaron, you want to talk about these two?
Yeah, we're just going through the steps so that we can get ready to bond and borrow for the project that we're planning on going to bid next spring. Obviously, we use Allers and Cooney normally, and that's the standard agreement that we have with them, which is what we're trying to approve.
Okay, so let's do the first resolution, and again, that's what I read. Consideration of engagement agreement with Allers and Cooney's as bond counsel of the sanitary sewer Step 3 project.
Motion to approve.
Moved by Anderson.
Second.
Second by Esti. Any discussion? Not, please call the roll.
Anderson?
Yes.
Esti?
Yes.
Gandy?
Yes.
Flournoy?
Yes.
Rasmussen?
Yes.
Ham?
Yes.
Toohill?
Yes.
Great, thank you. And then the next resolution that goes with it, consideration of resolution fixing date for a meeting on the authorization of a loan agreement and the issuance of not to exceed $12,500,000 sewer revenue capital loan notes of the city of Fairfield, state of Iowa, and providing for publication and notice thereof. So this will be Monday, December 12th at 7 p.m.
Motion to approve.
Moved by Anderson.
Second.
Second by Rasmussen. Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Anderson?
Yes.
Rasmussen?
Yes.
Gandy?
Yes.
Toohill?
Yes.
Ham?
Yes.
Flournoy?
Yes.
Esti?
Yes.
And the next two items, again, are related. We have a resolution and then the ordinance. So Aaron, you want to talk about how these fit together, please?
The resolution is the start of adding some property to the Highway 34 actually, the old Highway 34 TIF. So we're looking at adding the ground east of Walmart and north of the highway, or north of Burlington, to just west of Goodwill. Obviously, there's some new buildings there, so we're trying to add that and capture that increment into the TIF area there. So that's what we're doing. We're adding ground to capture more increment into the TIF area there.
Okay, so that resolution, consideration, did I already read that?
Yep.
To set dates of consultation and public hearing. So those would be, the consultation meeting would be Tuesday, November 22nd at 11 a.m. And then the public hearing would be Monday, December 12th at 7 p.m. Is there a motion to approve?
Move to approve.
Moved by Gandy,
Second.
second by Toohill. Any other questions? Not, please call the roll.
Gandy?
Yes.
Toohill?
Yes.
Ham?
Yes.
Rasmussen?
Yes.
Flournoy?
Yes.
Esti?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
And then the ordinance. Consideration to amend ordinance number 1102 and 1121 and providing the general property taxes shall not longer be divided on certain property located within the Highway number 34 West Business Urban Renewal Plan area in the city of Fairfield, county of Jefferson, state of Iowa, and this is removing the Walmart property from the division of taxes.
Correct. What I'm asking is we've had Allers and Cooney write this, and we're asking to remove the Walmart property out of the TIF area. They have contested their tax burden and have been successfully lowered their tax base, which has made it a negative draw on the TIF area, which has caused problems with us paying our debt with that TIF area because of that. So we want to remove that property, which will then be a bonus to the TIF area, and it'll be a bonus to the general fund because now those TIF dollars or those tax dollars will be split up and then will go into the general fund. I'm also asking you to waive the first and second readings to get this passed because we need to get it in by December 1 so that the county can get that taken care of so that we can have this set up for the next fiscal year.
Move to approve.
Okay, so we need to do this in two motions, right? We need to
Suspend the rules.
Suspend the rules, right?
Yep.
Yep.
Can I ask one question real
First
quick?
and second
How does removing
readings.
them from the TIF area adversely affect the remaining property?
It actually benefits the remaining TIF area because this is going to be this is hard for me to explain because I don't quite understand the whole thing, but it's because the Walmart property becomes a negative draw on the TIF, the amount of increment is tied up with that negative draw on the tax base. So if we pull that negative draw out, then the positive continues to come to us or would be a benefit to us.
It would be an increased positive.
Correct. It would increase on the positive.
When we applied for that TIF district, we applied with one number in mind for the Walmart property, and they've contested it to the point they don't have to pay what was originally taken into consideration when they were included. And so now that they've reduced it, it's reducing what we can use in that TIF.
So the remainder will still be the same, it just won't have the negative, it
Correct.
won't have
Correct.
the
So
draw.
it's- yes.
The remainder will,
Yeah,
it
probably
won't
didn't-
increase it, it will
It'll
remain
actually-
constant, we just won't have the
Correct.
the draw out of it.
Yeah.
Okay. I
And
get it.
then of course, when you pull that property out, then that becomes general fund or 810 levy, and of course it gets split with the school and the county, so they'll actually appreciate us doing this.
Sure.
Because it's a big property, commercial property, and then that'll go into our general fund, so it'll actually increase our general fund also.
Okay.
So Martha, you want to move to suspend the rules and waive the first and second readings,
Yes,
correct?
I do.
Okay.
Please.
So is there a second to that?
Second.
Okay. Any other discussion on suspending the rules and waiving the first and second
First and
readings?
second.
Can I ask one more question really quick?
Please.
I'm sorry. I apologize. So does the math work out that by splitting that between the school and the hospital and everybody else, that will still be net positive as to where we are right now?
Yeah, because what happens is we're going to take that out of the TIF area, so the TIF area will still have the increment that's already there, but it'll actually increase that
But we
because
won't
the
be,
base will
but we
go
won't
down.
be drawing that much because we won't be drawing their portion of it, correct?
Correct, but there's still buildings like the community first choice
Right.
building and stuff like that in it. So it'll be better for us in the end. And then that, of course, then the tax dollars that are split between us, that's all dollars that goes into general funds
Right.
that are a benefit
Right.
to us also.
And you have 2 new buildings that you're adding in.
Adding in there, yeah.
Correct.
Okay. So the
So
new
we're
ones
pulling
will
it out of
actually
the
make up
TIF and putting it on the
for
tax roll.
That,
the portion that, I mean,
well, like I said, Walmart is actually a negative on the base
Got it.
right now. So we're taking the negative away
from the, right.
From that.
From the
I
TIF.
get
from
that,
the
from the
base,
TIF, right.
right? And then we're adding some new buildings that will increase the increment in
Got
that
it.
too.
Okay.
Right.
All right.
All right. Any other questions or discussion? Okay, go ahead and call the roll.
Rasmussen?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
Ham?
Yes.
Flournoy?
Yes.
Gandy?
Yes.
Toohill?
Yes.
Esti?
Yeah.
Great, thank you. And now we want to pass the ordinance for the third and final reading.
Move to approve.
Okay, thank you,
I was gonna
Martha.
say, well, move
Okay,
to
there-
approve.
moved by Rasmussen, second by Toohill. Any other questions on that? Okay, go ahead and call the roll.
Rasmussen?
Yes.
Toohill?
Yes.
Esti?
Yes.
Gandy?
Yes.
Flournoy?
Yes.
Ham?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
All righty, under the mayor's report, we need to set our meeting for December. And I would like for you to approve to just meet it as normal, our second Monday, which is December 12th at 7 PM. That just keeps us on the same schedule. And if that's okay with you, I'd like a,
Motion to approve.
Second.
okay, moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Thank you. That's approved. I have 3 board appointments, and I'll just take these one at a time. The first one is the Arbor Committee for Andrew Nash. He's going to take Ray Lane's voting position. Ray's still going to be involved, but Andrew is a younger person. We're trying to, get some younger people in there to have another perspective, and so we really appreciate everything Ray has done, and he's, like I said, he still wants to contribute, but they want to have Andrew on as a voting member. So if it's okay with you, I'd like a motion to approve Andrew.
So moved.
Moved by Anderson, second by Ham. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Thank you. Next is Beautification Commission. Mary Williams replacing Sue Gale. And I just want to say, we still need, I think, 3 members in beautification. So if you know someone out there or that someone's interested, we're still looking for members. I know we're losing 3 members. And so and our 2 co-chairs are going away. So, again, this is Mary Williams, so I'd entertain a motion to approve her.
So move.
Moved by Rasmussen.
Second.
Second by Gandy. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. And then our library board, this is David Taboto replacing Michael Porter. And I just want to make a big shout out for Michael Porter. Thank you. He's just been a true servant for the library and the Library Foundation. He's just done so much, and we really appreciate all Michael's efforts to help Fairfield and the library, and we look forward to David coming aboard. So I'd entertain a motion to approve David.
So moved.
Moved by Gandy,
Second.
second by Toohill. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Great, thank you very much. Appreciate that. That's all I have. City Attorney report, John?
Couple things. I have what Shanaz sent as far as the railroad contract. I don't know if we want to get into that in December or save it. And it's big enough if we circulate it to the whole council. It's pretty droll reading. But it is something that we'll have to agree to. The railroad doesn't back off of much in these things. And I want to have a discussion with ICAP about it as far as the extent of the indemnification that it expects us to agree to.
Okay.
But other than that, I think my questions were answered about it as far as the Department of Transportation doesn't have any other expectations like it. That little picture of the viaduct is actually a 3-way right-of-way area, including the cities as well as the roadway as well as the railway, and raises some other interesting questions if somebody cuts off their foot mowing the lawn or something and it happens under the bridge. There's probably 3 defendants in that case, but anyway, that's never going to happen. It's the best case, so hopefully that's not a problem. Weston and I have had some work on a group of properties out on the southwest part of town. We're probably going to run into a couple situations. It'll be the first time that we bring some stuff back to you to have the city agreeing to involve in a 657A. Example of one of them is, and we'll be meeting in court with some people about this tomorrow, but they...
What's a 657A?
That is a process I'm going to tell you about here in a minute. It's basically part of our nuisance procedures, and it's one of the most comprehensive, but it's also sort of a last resort procedure. What it amounts to is we've got a couple of properties. One of them was a house that was identified as a meth house. One of them is a house that been tagged as unfit for habitation, and in both of those situations we're asking the owners to consider either turning it over to somebody else to fix up or demolishing it. Or letting the city demolish it was where 657A would come in. We could go in and demolish it. We could have a certification of the costs, and we could have that recovered if necessary by selling the lot to somebody to redevelopment if we clear the nuisance property. So we'll have more to tell you about on that, but Weston has pretty much on his own negotiated with the owner one of these sites as far as a willingness to consider demolition, and it would make a big difference. Plus it will keep it from being a property over the winter that is probably a crash pad for somebody else that's into substance abuse. So these things, some of them have more features to them than we realize when we cite them for having vegetation or trash in the yard. There's other stuff going on there too, and this will probably help us gauge what the court's willing to do on some of those properties, because we got a bunch of them. So we'll keep you updated on that. I think Weston has been progressing nicely as far as some of these intercessions that, or interventions that need to be made. I'm going to be going to the municipal attorney's annual meeting in Des Moines on Friday, which is an all-day seminar. Probably have a chance to sit at the lunch tables, which where all the learning occurs anyway, with Hugh Kane and some of Hopkins Huebner and 2 or 3 of the people from Ehlers. So I look forward to that every year as far as something that gives me a little better grasp personally of who I'm dealing with, because people are changing and I'm getting older. So anyway, but that's my report.
Great, thank you, appreciate that. Committee and board reports, environmental and franchise utilities. Do you have anything else?
No, nothing else other than the RIC assessment.
Okay. Public safety and transportation.
Public safety and transportation met this evening at 6 p.m. and we had 4 items on the agenda. The first one was a concern brought forth and sent to public safety regarding wandering cats at large. The committee as a whole has no interest in pursuing this further. Just at this time, there's not enough community concern brought forward, and it's expecting a lot of our law enforcement officers to add this to their already overflowing plate of things to enforce in town. So at this time, the committee made a decision to take no further action on that. The next item was concerns that have been brought forth through emails and concerns brought to council members regarding the deer population in town. And we briefly reviewed kind of what we've done to date in the history of it, starting 2016 or earlier, and the various ordinances and amendments we've made to it. And we all agree that the ordinance that we currently have is a little restrictive and thus not being effective at reducing the herd around town. And so the only action we're taking is to look at other options. We're considering bringing in a private company to deal with them. We're considering loosening some of the restraints on the current ordinance. We're looking at using law enforcement to help us cull the herd, but no action was taken tonight. We're at the research phase. We did bring Melanie onto the phone to talk to us about the intersection at 2nd and Broadway, where the traffic light has been decommissioned, for lack of better words, and turned off on a trial basis. And I mean, we have an entire list of options in front of us, but as a committee and speaking with the staff, Joe Hurd was in the meeting as well. Chief Thomas was in the meeting as well. There's been no incidents occur at that corner since the light has been turned off. As a committee, we would like to see improvements to that corner. We had talked about bringing in a beacon and making that intersection ADA compliant. And so it's the recommendation of the Public Safety Committee to go ahead and remove the lights that are causing more confusion than they are helping right now. So completely taking down the overhead light that's been bagged, and then working towards putting in the beacon and the ADA, which we're hoping to work into next year's budget. So we'd be looking at doing that after July 1 of next year when we can get it through the budget. So recommendation from council, official motion, is to go ahead and allow the city staff to remove the light that has been turned off. And I recommend, in the same motion, recommending to Ways and Means that they find the $20K necessary to put a beacon and make the 4 corners ADA compliant.
So did they remove just the actual light or the whole thing? The whole thing?
Right,
Okay.
yep.
Just wanted
So,
to
I mean,
clarify.
we're aware that there's going to be an electricity need for that beacon, but Joe and Melanie, I guess, have discussed this at length, and they know exactly what they've got to do to get it taken down and maintain the utilities necessary. And the light then will be used for parts for other lights in town to try to keep them going as long as we can.
So is there no cost associated with taking down the light?
Cost of city staff to take it down, but we're not outsourcing it.
Oh.
Joe said that his staff are completely capable of doing the work. And we're actually, the work that we're talking about with the beacon and the ADA corners, also fully available to have our own staff do that next year.
Okay, great. So there's a motion on the floor. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Rasmussen. Any other discussion?
One thing, Your Honor.
Yes.
One thing that came out of the committee discussion with Katie, there is a specific complaint that brought this to the light of the committee, and we have an ordinance that is a case-by-case ordinance as far as cats and numbers of cats, et cetera. And in this situation, our ordinance, as it deals with them right now, would be something that turns into a nuisance consideration. And it is worded in such a way that if it creates enough of a problem as far as the number of cats, our specific complaint that brought this is like 20 dogs and 15 cats, I think, then it is a question of whether it creates a public discomfort among the neighbors or rises to the level of a nuisance, basically, in that case, in which case we will do something. We're already looking into it. Weston mentioned that situation too, so.
Okay, great. Thank you. So there is a motion and a second to approve taking down the lights at 2nd and Broadway. Any other discussion regarding that?
That motion did include budgeting for the beacon and the ADA compliance.
Okay, great. Thank you for pointing that out. Okay, so I think I'll do a voice call. So yeah, go ahead.
Anderson?
Yes.
Rasmussen?
Yes.
Toohill?
Yes.
Esti?
Yes.
Flournoy?
Yes.
Ham?
Yes.
Gandy?
Yes.
The last item on our agenda tonight was the traffic light at Burlington and Court, which there's no action tonight other than to bring to the forefront of the minds of the council to kind of watch how things go at 2nd and Broadway, because we've also been informed that the light at Burlington and Court Street has also exceeded its useful life, and at a price tag of $250,000 to $300,000 per intersection with a light, that will be the next intersection that DOT recommends that we assess, and it is based on traffic. Our next intersection to look at to possibly model after what we did at 2nd and Broadway, where we take the light down, see how things go, and then take action if it is amendable and safe. So no action, just be watching that intersection next and kind of think of what we've done at 2nd Broadway, if it makes sense to do it at Burlington and Court.
Was there a recommendation that it could be removed if we decided to already?
At Burlington and Court?
Yes.
I believe both these came up with the
study that we did.
The study that we did through DOT. So yeah, so this is the next one that public safety is looking at, depending on how things go.
But DOT already said it was okay to take it down.
Not only did they say, yeah, they said it has exceeded its useful life, and they will not be replacing it.
When are you
No,
looking?
my question was there a conclusion it was unnecessary?
Yes.
Yes, it was one that we don't have to have. That is correct. So, and that's it.
Okay, great. Thank you. Housing Task Force update.
Thank you, Mayor. Council will recall that last summer, we agreed to partner with the Fairfield Economic Development Association in submitting an application for the Rural Housing Readiness Assessment Program. And we submitted the application, or the FEDA submitted the application in September of this year. We're happy to say that our application was approved, our grant, we've been approved and received a grant, and so we're moving forward with that Housing Task Force study. The Housing Task Force met for its first time on November 1st, and there are several steps to this process. We completed 2 of the steps. We're going quickly. So the idea of the need for quality, affordable housing, as we know, has been a challenge for Fairfield for years. It's a challenge nationally, but speaking in terms of our city, it's been a challenge for some years. And it's good to see that the city, working with FEDA, is taking actionable steps that are going to, I think, going to result in something that is going to be something the city can be proud of and is going to address the problem. We have here this evening Josh Larrabee, who's the executive director of FEDA. If he wouldn't mind just giving us a couple of points about our first meeting and what we can expect to have happen in the next couple of months.
Hi, guys. Hi, Council. So our first meeting, Paul is our chair, And we decided as a task force to combine sessions 1 and 2. There is typically 4 steps to this housing task force process with Iowa State University Extension, which I think was a good idea. Sessions 1 and 2 are essentially very informational. A lot of good content, and actually a lot that we have to take back and digest. So we'll be happy to share that with you. There was a lot of information about how many building permits were issued for single family and duplexes and multifamily. So it was very insightful to see some of the past development areas of improvement based on the data. And then the third step is a community survey. And we are hoping for 2,000 responses. I'm a little bit nervous about that goal, but I'm also excited. And anybody who lives in Fairfield or works in Fairfield but doesn't live here, we encourage those folks to engage in that survey. Especially, we want everybody, but especially those people who may be looking to relocate here, who are working here but don't live here. So that's the goal. And then following that survey will be our action planning session, where we take the state data, we take the survey data, and then hopefully come up with a very bold but yet practical plan for housing. We do have approximately 2,800 people that commute into Fairfield every day to work, but they do not live here. So that's an incredible opportunity to hopefully address some of the housing needs for those folks. But in addition, I think we have many segments of our community that live here who are looking to make a change, whether they're looking to downsize for different reasons or make a change in their housing, maybe based on health or different situations. So we want a good cross-section, as Paul quoted in our press release, of everybody, all income levels, employment levels, retired or working across the board.
And so we've attached to this evening's agenda the link to the Fairfield Housing Survey, and we encourage everyone on council and everyone you know to take that survey. I took it. It's only 5 minutes. Maybe you can take longer if you want to have comments, but it's just 5 minutes. It's going to be very useful in actually coming up with a plan that actually serves the needs of Fairfield. I know the mayor and the city administrator were present at the first meeting. They're going to continue to be involved. And our council, if you know, remember, we chose a very, I think, a very nice cross-section of the community as members of the task force. And really, it's FIDA that's leading the way, and the council, we're happy to be partners with them. But I think we're off to a good start, and I predict there's going to be some good results.
If you have any questions, please let me know. And like Paul said, encourage your friends and family.
Yeah.
We might push another email out, so that's just participation.
Yeah, you'll hear from him again.
So we challenge to Fairfield citizens, we want 2,000 surveys.
That's right.
So go to it. There's no prize, but other than, we'll say we did a great job.
In a winning housing plan.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's our prize. Great.
Paul, or I know if you have any questions, or anybody on the task force.
Great. Thank you. Ambulance committee.
Yeah, the Jefferson County Ambulance Board met last week, and there's some, we're discussing contract negotiations, and there are some things that may impact our budget, so I would like to request that it be sent to Ways and Means to discuss further.
Okay.
So I will make that motion.
Okay. So second to that motion?
Yes.
Second by Toohill. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. I'll just say that contract comes up next year, so that's why it's going to be discussed. Okay. Administrator and department reports. Compost site update.
I've got a few things here quick. The compost site, the streets department is loading on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 3 o'clock. They're not going to be doing appointments or anything now. It's just if you're there at 3 o'clock, they'll be there to load for you. But it's on Monday, Wednesday, and that's from April through November. We're not during the winter months of December, January, and February, and March going to be loading compost. The nice thing there is it is open to all residents, or actually anyone that needs mulch or compost, but only citizens of this, or only residents of the town are allowed to dump yard waste there. That's just the service that we're providing for our citizens. But we are allowing, because we have so much compost and so much mulch, we have more than enough for anybody that wants any. The Waterworks Park Shelter site was chosen by the Park and Rec staff, and it is the site that's kind of an agreement between a number of different people. There was a thought that putting it where the current shelter is, but that's fairly close to the Waterworks Park or Waterworks facility, and Steve doesn't like that much traffic down there. Some folks didn't want it closer to the beach because of noise and traffic and other pedestrian traffic, I would say. So the compromise was to put it just on the other side of the road and have it it's a more conducive site to all of the activities in the park that go on there. We're also probably going to be looking at putting a couple speed bumps there so that traffic slows down when people are crossing the road to go to the restroom and to the shelter there. So if I could have we'd like a motion to have the council support the Park and Rec Board's decision on where to put that.
Is there a picture of it on that?
Yes.
Sorry, Jason, can you open that?
The minutes are first, yeah, scrolling down.
You can see also that Melanie had listed all the pros and cons of all the different sites. There's a lot of input even from community citizens.
We still have to go to the Board of Supervisors. Melanie's working on getting us a survey description for both the site, if we agree with this, and an easement to run the pipes. So we hope to have that done yet this year, so we can go to bid this spring and get her done.
And just an FYI, as far as funding for this was done, the funding for this park shelter is from a grant or a donation from a citizen.
It's the Felger estate, yeah.
Is this in addition?
Go ahead.
I was going to say, is this in addition to the bathrooms we already have? Or-
It's replacing the bathrooms that they already have because those have kind of lost their
Exceeded their
useful life.
And we don't want to just rebuild there.
Correct.
Because of the location.
Yes.
Sorry, you probably maybe already said that, but okay, thank you.
Where on there do what's going?
A and B.
Where A is.
That's, do you see
A?
I thought the letter A
Oh, I thought
On the northernmost.
on this side of the road? Here.
Or is it?
Is it A or B?
I think it was B.
It might be B.
If you bop back up
Yeah, right there.
to the
It's B.
mid.
Oh, now you can see it. Is that an A, a B?
That's a B.
Underneath
It's
speed
B.
I
is
see
A.
it, I see it now.
I didn't see the other one either. That's why I said it was A.
So what is A, do you know?
That's where the volleyball courts are, I
Oh,
believe.
okay.
The current volleyball courts. And that was one proposed site.
Okay.
This location's going to catch everything from Bonneville Cabin in the Girl Scouts area through volleyball, beach, the trails, the high school athletic activities, and it's hard to, I mean, if you move it 100 yards one way or another, you're still talking about trying to service the same thing. So Melanie's tried real hard with the Park and Rec Board to make sure this fits.
And I think the speed bump addition to slow traffic down for people coming from the beach across the road is useful too. So, no one made a motion yet, correct?
Correct.
I'll make a motion.
Okay, thank you. There's a motion to approve this,
Second.
and there's a second. Any other discussion? Please call the roll.
Toohill?
Yes.
Rasmussen?
Yes.
Esti?
Yes.
Flournoy?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
Ham?
Yes.
Gandy?
Yes.
And the last thing I have is, you saw that I had a memo regarding our financial update for the first quarter. Everything is, for the most part, in a pretty good position. We've overspent in a few areas, but primarily those are areas where we're doing construction, where we're prepaying things, whether it be the fire station or whether it be Highway 1 or, well, those are the two I can think of off the top of my head. But when we bond, we'll get repaid, we'll get reimbursed for those things. So all in all, quarterly update, we are in a very good financial situation as the city is concerned. I think our balances are doing very well.
Great, thank you. Any questions for Aaron? All righty, I take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Moved by Toohill,
Second.
second by Anderson. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign.
Question, Your Honor.
Oh, yes.
I know we just agreed earlier on the December 12th single meeting in December, but when is the agreed work session that we're going to have?
December 10th.
So it's the Saturday.
Yeah. Yeah, December 10th at 9 a.m.
All right.
9 to 12. And we'll be putting on an agenda for too long. We'll might be able to have it by our next meeting. Okay, meeting adjourned.
I dare you.